Hi there, warriors. In this video, we're going to look at why is it that when my students are on their iPad in Schoology, sometimes the links will just not open. So there is a couple of things going on when this happens. I'm here on my iPad and I've got my class open on Schoology on Safari. And we're just going to walk through a couple of the things that are going on. So, for example, Zoom is one that's causing us some issues. So for a lot of us, when we went to add our link to our Zoom, we went to Add Materials, and we did Add File, Link, or External Tool. Makes total sense. Zoom gives you a URL, so it makes sense to choose link, right? So you might have gone here and you might have pasted your URL right here, and you said something like Zoom link. Great. And I clicked add, boopity boop. And when I scroll down to the bottom, there's my Zoom link. Awesome. So in my head, I'm expecting this to work really great for my students. It even shows a Zoom symbol. If they click on it, it should just open right up. But instead, what's happening for a lot of students on iPad is either they get a totally blank screen or they get this one. And this happens for a lot of websites. It might be a textbook site. You name it. So what's happening is when you add a link to Schoology, the default for how to display that link is to leave Schoology open, as you can see over here, and then kind of create this box in the middle where the website exists. So you're sort of embedding that website in Schoology so the student never has to leave Schoology. Unfortunately, there are some websites that will not allow you to do this for security reasons or for any number of reasons. They just won't let you do it. Zoom is one of them, and there are others. Textbooks notoriously are among those. So if your student's getting like a totally blank screen, it could definitely be pop-up blockers. So I'm on Safari. I'm just going to show you what to do on Safari, and then I'll show you what to do on Chrome on an iPad. So if you're using Safari, you're going to go to Settings, and you're going to look for Safari over here on the left. And where'd you go, Safari? If you can't find it, you'll go up here to Search, and you'll click Safari, and you're going to look for block pop-ups, and you're going to turn it off. Or if your students prefer the Chrome browser on iPad, they can go up here to the three dots in the top right. They can go to Settings. They can go to Content Settings and turn off block pop-ups here. This is not going to allow pop-ups to willy-nilly start popping up. What it will do typically is pop up and ask you, this is trying to have a pop-up, do you want to allow it? But that's one thing that they should do when using Schoology. So the other thing though is, let's see, since I'm here at Chrome, let me flip to the student view so we're really getting for real student view. Go to courses, we'll go to my class. So what the students need to do though, if they get this view, is there's one of two things that can happen. For a student, the solution is, when it looks like this, is to look for this little box with an arrow pointing outwards. If you click or tap on this, it will pop open this URL in a new window. So if I tap this, in my case, it's taking it directly to the Zoom app. Hey everybody, I'm going to cancel this and end because y'all don't need to see this. But as long as I have the Zoom app already downloaded, it's actually going to open it up and recognize that. But if it didn't, it would take you to Zoom. But that's another thing to make sure your students have done, is download the Zoom app. But this is the button they want to look for if they get this kind of window situation. But there is one thing you can do as a teacher to help your students out so they don't get that. When you're dealing with a textbook or Zoom or any other website that's just not opening appropriately or the way you would like it to, let's take a look at a teacher view again, and I'm going to show you a little feature that you may have missed when you started using Schoology. So when I click Add Materials, I'm going to go to add a file, link, or external tool like I did before. I'm going to click Link. But the button you probably haven't noticed, or you might not have noticed, is this ABC button. This ABC button is what decides how this link or this particular material type is going to show up in Schoology. So for a link, the default is to show up embedded within Schoology, but if you tap it one time, you'll see that it's now set to display in a new window. So if I come over here and paste my link to my Zoom, and I type in Zoom links, click add. Now when the student or you even go down here and click on the new link, it takes you straight out to the app. You do not have to get that other screen and make that extra step of clicking on the arrow button. So that is one thing I would suggest. The other thing I would suggest, even though it's going to take you an extra step when we're talking about Zoom links, is a lot of our students on iPads really like to just go to the, if this link isn't working, their backup plan is that they will go to the Zoom app and that other meeting. When they go to join, they can just enter in the meeting ID number and the password. So a lot of us only included the website URL, but we didn't include the meeting ID and the passcode. So one thing you can do to help students and give them another option for troubleshooting if they're having trouble with the link is if you, instead of just doing a link, you do something like this where you give them the URL, the meeting ID, and the passcode. It gives them more options to do that. This video is already going super long, but if you want to hang in there with me and wonder how I got this to look like this, kind of like a banner where it shows all the text, I'm going to quickly show those of you who are curious. So what I did here was I went to Add Materials. There's an option called Add a Page. Add page is kind of a misnomer because you're just thinking an entire web page, right? But it can be short, so you can even almost create a little banner for your website. You can put one on the main page of your Schoology page. You can put one inside of a folder. But anytime you kind of want to put a header or a banner or a full page is the one you want to choose. So when I do that, because in my case I just want to kind of create a banner, so I might say Zoom information. Ooh. Here I can type in anything I want, so I could put the Zoom code, Zoom link. Mine is hyperlinked, but let's say it wasn't.
Zoom link.
Let's say it hadn't done that. What I could have done is copied that, and if it hadn't linked for me automatically, which it sometimes doesn't when you paste in a URL, if it's not linked, it's not blue, I'm going to tap that little chain link symbol, and that will allow me to add the link and make sure that is clickable for your students. But maybe I want to do, I'm going to say this is the link. I'm going to say, maybe I'm going to add the meeting ID and the passcode. Or you could copy and paste the entire invitation if you wanted to get real crazy, but you can do whatever you want. From here you can even, like, let's say I wanted to add some other material. I wanted to embed a video or a Google Doc or a Google form. You can do any of those by using that little arrow button. You can embed anything you want into this page. But much like before, I am going to look for the ABC symbol. With a link, the default is to display in line. With a page, the default is to open it up on the next page. But if I want it to appear like a header, I'm going to say display in line. Why would I want to do that? Let's take a look. If I say display in line, now it's showing up like on this page with all the writing. If I had chosen to leave it as was and have it display, the kids would have only seen the words Zoom information, and they would have had to tap Zoom information and make that open up before they could see the URL, the meeting ID, and the passcode. So there's occasions where you just kind of want a header or just a little block of text to show. So in that case, you just use page, and you just set it to display in line. And I can drag this up to the top. I'm just going to hold down on the... what you would do is display... Oh, and I'm on my iPad, I forgot. So if you're on a computer, you can hold on to that paper symbol and drag it up to the top. Yeah, so you will need to do that on your computer. Alright, so this has just kind of been a deep dive into what's going on when your students are having troubles opening links from your Schoology page. I hope it's helpful. If you have any questions about Schoology or anything else tech related, please don't hesitate to reach out to your Building Digital Learning coach today.